What is going on, everybody? I'm Mac, and I'm back, and these are my Week 2 picks. 2025 NFL season. Welcome back, everybody. As I'm back here, and if you're watching this is premiering. I'm getting ready to fly on down to Florida for my honeymoon. So, this may be the last one that I put out, probably until like Week 4. So, yeah, it's for a good cause, though. But, yeah, these are my Week 2 picks. And, Week 1, your back-to-back champ actually had a pretty solid week. I went 10-6, and literally if Cleveland or Kansas City knew how to kick a football, I would have gone 12-4, but I'm not complaining about 10-6. Usually week 1 is a really hard week to pick. It is deceptively hard, but I won't complain about 10-6. But yeah, these are my week 2 picks, and let's not waste any more time, and let's jump right on into it. So, kicking things off for week 2, Thursday night football between the Washington Commanders and the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau. I think both these teams are pretty similar as far as their structure goes. We know both teams can put up a lot of points on offense. We know that they're capable of being elite offenses in this league. But I think people are kind of underestimating defense on both ends. Washington held the Giants to just 6 points, which, granted, the Giants suck, okay? So, you know, it's really not all that impressive, and the Giants, they seem to have like a knack for not being able to get more than 2 field goals in week 1. So I'm not going to say that they have an elite defense, but they have a decent defense. And then Green Bay, how about Micah Parsons in his Packer debut, just putting all kinds of pressure on Jared Goff in the pocket all day against the Lions on Sunday, and he really does make a difference with that Green Bay defense right there. And just as a side note, I originally had the Lions winning week 1, but as soon as the Packers made that trade for Micah Parsons, I switched to Green Bay, and it ended up being the right call. Saved me a win right there. So, yeah, you know, they shut down Detroit, who has one of the most potent offenses in the league. I don't know if the Lions are really missing Ben Johnson or if they just ran into a stout Green Bay defense. I mean, week 1 is usually a lie in most cases, and week 2 is usually the true test for a team. You know what I mean? But I'm not panicking too much about Detroit. I think they kind of just ran into a really good Green Bay defense. Packers benefited with their offense off their defense as well. And I think if the Packers are able to take away the run game that Washington has, which we know that they can do, Green Bay is going to be in great shape to win this game as well. And now they got that guy in Micah Parsons. So, with all that being said, this one was a difficult one for me. This is a really good candidate for Game of the Week. But I am going to go ahead and take the Green Bay Packers to improve to 2-0. Typically, when I am unsure of who to pick, I go with the home team, and that's just what I'm going to do right here. So I'm going to take the Green Bay Packers to win a pretty good one on Thursday night against Washington to improve to 2-0. Now we got the Sunday slate of games, and while I'll be laying down on a beach in Florida, we got these games on Sunday afternoon. First up, we got the Jaguars and the Bengals. This one is in Cincinnati. Jacksonville beat down the Panthers. Bengals eked out a win over the Cleveland Browns 17-16 because the Browns are the Browns. They don't know how to kick a football. They don't know how to play football. They are just a complete dumpster fire of an organization. But that's not to say the Bengals were dominant in that game, because they were not dominant in that game whatsoever. The offense, which is Cincy's calling card, only managed 7 total yards of offense in the entire second half. And honestly, the Bengals are incredibly lucky to have won that game. Like I said, if the Browns had a kicker, they win that game. Plain and simple. Cleveland's defense showed up. And Cincinnati may have won this time, but every single year since 2019, they have gotten off to slow starts. And that continued. The only difference is they came away with a win this time, and they were incredibly lucky to have done so. That's just how it is. As for Jacksonville, there's some good things to say about Jacksonville as well. They had a nice game against Carolina, but then again, the Panthers, they're not a great team either. Hunter, he had a really nice debut. I think Travis Hunter is really going to live up to the hype in the league, and we'll see how he goes here. But the strange thing about the Bengals is that their defense was horrendous last season, and their defense was the strong point of Sunday's game. So I don't know if it's just a product of the Browns having Joe Flacco out there who's 1,000 years old, or I don't know if it's just the Browns, but the fact of the matter is the Bengals defense actually looked good for once, and they're playing now a confident team in Jacksonville that's trying to build off a win. It's more so who do I see being 2-0 rather than being 1-1, and I think the Bengals are more believable to be 2-0. I'm going to go ahead and take the Bengals to win this one just because I still don't know if I can fully trust Jacksonville. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Bengals, although I will laugh my ass off if Jacksonville wins this game. But yeah, I'm going to take the Bengals in this one. Next, pretty interesting one here. We got the Chicago Bears going to Detroit to play the Lions. Ben Johnson returns to Detroit, and I'm saying it right now, I sat down and watched that Monday night game between the Vikings and the Bears. Ben Johnson did not have a good head coach debut. More specifically, the call that did it for me personally was when Johnson elected for Santos to kick the ball in play to the Vikings instead of having him kick the ball out of bounds. Like, you're just going to give all the momentum away like that when you had a strong first half like that. You have to know who your opponent is, and you can't give a high-octane offense like the Vikings, more confidence like that, no matter, who their quarterback is. Now, granted, J.J. McCarthy had a slow start to the game, and he picked things up, so credit to him, but that's just a really bad blunder right there by Ben Johnson, man. I don't know, maybe it's just one game, but this game right here is going to show how much Ben Johnson really meant to the Lions right there, because Ben Johnson, a lot of people are saying that he was the catalyst in Detroit with Dan Campbell for why the Lions had such a fun offense. But this game's going to be the showing for it. Chicago, they do have weapons on offense, and they do have a really stout defense, but if Ben Johnson has more gaffes like that, then it's just going to be another long year for the Chicago Bears. Now, like I said in my Packers pick, I am not writing off the Lions yet. It is still way too early in the season. I think they just ran into a Packer team that was really feeling themselves. And I still think the Lions are going to be a great team, man. You can't count out this Detroit team. So I'm going to go ahead and say the Lions get that bad taste out of their mouths from week 1, and they get it done over the Chicago Bears here. So I'm going to take the Lions to get their first win of the year, drop Chicago to 0-2. Then we got the New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. This one was close to being my toilet bowl of the week, but I got another matchup in mind for that one. You'll see in a little bit, but this one, not much better. The difference is that the Cowboys actually had a lot of chances to win last Thursday night over the Philadelphia Eagles. The Cowboys actually didn't look all that bad. Like, if CeeDee Lamb makes those catches, Dallas probably beats Philly. Like, the Cowboys actually played a really good game. Dak Prescott, he actually looked pretty solid, but it's just those drops, man. Those drops just killed Dallas. That's all there is to it. But, yeah, as expected, the Cowboys just had no answer for Philly's run game. They had no answer for that Eagles offense. They got gashed on the ground. It's almost like the Cowboys needed somebody on that middle of the defense to stop the run. Oh, how'd you know it would have been Micah Parsons? Oh, because they traded him away. That's why. But anyway, Cowboys, they lost, but the good news for them is that they're coming home and they have an extra 3 days to rest up. So there's a good storyline right there for the Cowboys. And even better news is they're playing a team that they have just absolutely owned over the last 8 years or so. It's the New York Giants. Dallas has won, I think, 14 of the last 15 games against the New York Giants. They have just absolutely dominated them. Now, granted, yes, the Giants, they've been one of the worst teams in the NFL during that time, but still, it's like when the Steelers were consistently beating the Browns, you know. If you are just consistently beating a team like that, it just shows that you are winning these games that you should win. And the Cowboys, they just do not want to start this season off 0-2. The Giants, I believe, are still starting Russell Wilson in this game, and Russ just looking more and more washed up as the weeks go by, man. I mean, he's not safe behind that offensive line. Giants are just a train wreck. I'm going to go ahead and take the Dallas Cowboys to get their first win of the year and get it done over the New York Giants once again. So go ahead, give me the Cowboys to beat the Giants. Then we got the San Francisco 49ers and the New Orleans Saints. Now, this one may not be as clear-cut as a lot of people say it is, because, listen to this, the 49ers, they got the win over the Seahawks, and they're 1-0. However, listen to this. Jennings, Watkins, and Jones are all questionable for this game for San Francisco. Brock Purdy is doubtful for this game, and George Kittle is on IR. So, yeah, as if the 49ers injury situation wasn't bad enough, it just got a hell of a lot worse going into this game against the Saints. That's why I'm saying San Francisco, they're not going to make the playoffs this year. I think they beat a Seahawks team that was just suffering from the effects of hitting the reset button. I mean, now you just add a lot more injuries right there. I mean, the 49ers desperately need CMC to go off in this game. They desperately need him to be okay for this game. Couple that with Brandon Ayuk still recovering, and I've heard reports that he could play as early as week 6 for San Francisco. So they're possibly looking at a situation to where they could be starting Mac Jones in this game. So yeah, if Mac Jones can just be the game manager type role, just step out of the way and let CMC be the engine of the offense for San Francisco and let the defense keep him in the game, San Francisco has a decent enough chance. But the thing that's saving them here is that they are playing the New Orleans Saints, and I am sticking with the belief that I think the Saints will have the first overall pick in this coming spring's draft, and I'm going to go ahead and take the 49ers to improve to 2-0. However, I think it's a pretty hollow 2-0 right here. It's not going to last very long for San Francisco, but I do have them beating the Saints. I think they're a better team than the Saints are, but I'm not too high on San Francisco, if I'm being honest with you. But give me the Niners in this particular instance once again. Then we got the Los Angeles Rams and the Tennessee Titans. This one is down in Nashville. Well, Cam Ward is getting the green light to go once again for the Rams, and or for the Titans rather. And well, he did okay against Denver. He did what he could. I mean, I'm not going to go too hard on him because he made his NFL debut. He did okay, nothing terrible, nothing great. I mean, you know, he looked like a rookie out there. Obviously going up against one of, if not the best defenses in the NFL in the Denver Broncos. The guy got sacked 6 times, which, you know, I'm not going to give him a pass for that. But he, you know, when you watch the highlights, you could tell that he was out there and he was just giving his best effort that he could, you know. So nothing terrible, but nothing amazing at the same time. Just an average, okay rookie debut for Cam Ward. You know, he had a couple of he had a couple of stupid rookie mistakes, but that's expected. I can forgive that. But he did have a really bad pass from his own end zone. I blame more of that on Callahan right there, where you have the lead and you can't afford to give your opponent another opportunity. But yeah, you know, like I said, I put more of that on Callahan than Ward. But you know, all it can do is go up, right? So there you go with Tennessee right there. They were surprisingly in that game against the Broncos. They had some chances to win, but they just it seems like that pass from the own end zone just took momentum away. They also had some pretty bad drop passes. More specifically, if Calvin Ridley could have made that catch on third down, they probably could have sent the game to overtime. But, you know, that's the story with Tennessee. The Rams, they won a very low-scoring game over the Texans, 14-9. Rams defense performed very well. I said that if the Rams are to have a chance, they really need the run defense to step up, and their entire defense stepped up against Houston. They bullied C.J. Stroud all game long. They limited the run game very well against the Texans, and I don't think that that's going to be much of an issue here. I think that this defense is going to, you know, feast on Cam Ward, give him another wake-up call in the NFL, and I'm going to go ahead and take the Rams to get to 2-0. So, yeah, give me LA to go to 2-0, and the growing pains for the Titans continue. They fall to 0-2. Then we got the New England Patriots and the Miami Dolphins. This one is in Miami, and this one here is my toilet bowl of the week. Like I said, Giants-Cowboys was in consideration for it, but I went with this one because unlike the Cowboys, or because unlike the Cowboys performance, you see, in the Giants' performance, New England actually showed some competency in their game, and Miami got absolutely wrecked by the Colts. I mean, I don't think anyone saw that coming. Tua Tagovailoa, he played abysmal in that game. He had 3 turnovers in the Colts game. He had 2 interceptions and a lost fumble. So, yeah, Tua, not a great game. So, I know it's only week 2, and I know there's still a ton of football to go, but this feels like a game to where it looks like it's going to be a matchup of 2 teams that don't have a chance in hell at making the playoffs this year. New England, like I said, they did not have a good game against the Raiders, but they at least showed some signs of competency, whereas Miami, they just got absolutely wrecked. So I think the only thing that makes me decide this one here are 2 factors in favor of the Dolphins. Number 1, the Patriots never play well in Miami. Even in their dynasty days, they never played well in Miami. And secondly, Tua is actually undefeated against the Patriots. He always plays his best football against the Patriots. So, perhaps with the Patriots coming into South Beach and with the Dolphins having that bad taste in their mouth, they can wash that out and they can get the job done here. So I was a little bit tempted to take New England to win this game, but like I said, I'm in doubt for this game, so I'm going to go with the home team. I really don't care who wins this game, but for the sake of pick'em and because I have to pick someone, I'm going to go ahead and take the Dolphins to win here. But yeah, this is my toilet bowl of the week. I could really care less about this game. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. This one is in MetLife. And this was a strong contender for my lock of the week right here. I don't think I need to tell you why, but I made a compromise. I am going to take the Buffalo Bills to blow out the Jets here, as I am going to make this my spread of the week. Okay, the Buffalo Bills. So, Raven fans, remember when everyone was laughing at me when I said the Ravens were an unclutched team? Well, guess who just got their 17th blown lead when leading by double-digit points since 2008? That's right, it's the Baltimore Ravens in the John Harbaugh era. You're up 40-25 in the 4th quarter, and you allow the Bills to just pass all over you, 400 yards of passing, and they come back and win 41-40 in what could already be the game of the year. The funny thing is that me and my wife, we got into our hotel when it was 34-19, and I figured the game was over. And then at some point, I actually checked my phone and saw the Bills came back and won, and I was like, typical John Harbaugh choke job, you know. So, wow. Josh Allen had a phenomenal game against the Ravens, more specifically in the fourth quarter of that game. Whereas the Jets, they got blown out by the well, not blown out. What am I talking about? They lost 34-32 to the Steelers. Justin Fields put up a great game, not gonna lie. But until the Jets show me that they can be good and they can win games and they can actually make the damn playoffs for the first time in 15 years, I will not be picking the Jets very consistently. I'm going to take Buffalo to blow out the Jets here. Like I said, this is my spread of the week. Give me Buffalo all day, 37-10 over the Jets. Now we got my matchup, Seattle Seahawks and the Pittsburgh Steelers. This one is in Heinz. Steelers home opener. Seattle's 0-1. Steelers are 1-0. Rematch of Super Bowl 40. So, Seattle, they had a tough loss to the 49ers where they were driving down 4 points to them. And then Sam Darnold had that costly fumble that ended the game. And, you know, Seattle, they didn't look terrible against San Francisco, but, like, it's just going to be a growing pain here for them, you know. Us, on the other hand, man, oh man. Look, I'm not going to say Aaron Rodgers did terrible because he didn't, okay? He had a great first game, okay? 4 touchdown passes, and he was, what, 22 of 30 in that game? He did what he needed to do, okay? But here's the thing. Russell Wilson made his Steeler debut last year, also against the Jets, and he had a great game too. It's one game, guys, all right? If Rodgers does that against an elite team, then I'll eat crow. But for right now, I'm saying Rodgers did what he needed to do against a team that's not good and against a team that he knows really well, too. Because you got to remember, Aaron Rodgers had one full season knowing the entire Jets organization, inside and out. So yes, he had a great game. But let's not act like the Jets are world beaters either. Okay? That's all I'm saying. But good God, the defense, what happened with the defense? Isn't this defense supposed to be a top 10 defense in the league? Or even a top 5 defense in the league? And yet they're allowing Justin Fields to absolutely destroy this defense. Run defense got obliterated. Cam Hayward just moaning and crying on the sideline before the game started and during offseason because he wants more money. Well, guess what? He played on Sunday, but he played as if he wasn't playing at all. This run defense is horrendous. This run defense supposedly got improved in the offseason, and it looked like a carbon cutout of the playoff game against the Ravens, with the only difference being is that the offense went off. I mean, good Lord. What happened to the defense, man? I mean, if the defense is going to perform like this all season, and they can't even do this against against the Jets, then it's going to be a long year for the Steelers, man. And honestly, part of me can see Seattle winning this game. Because the Seahawks, like I said, they put up a fight against San Francisco, and they can actually run the ball effectively at some points. Alright, so if the run defense had problems against the Jets, and the defense had problems against Justin Fields, well then, what do you think they're going to do against Sam Darnold? You better have an answer for it. I really don't know, man. I really don't know. But, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and pick us to go to 2-0. But it's going to be a very hollow 2-0. I mean, this is why I'm just not getting excited. Because this team, yeah, they got the win. But how many times is this team going to win in the ugliest way possible? This is why nobody takes the Steelers seriously. This is why nobody expects the Steelers to make a deep playoff run. They are their own worst enemy. The only difference on Sunday that separates from the rest of the team is that the offense looked good. You gotta do something about that defense. You gotta do something about it. Plain and simple. I will take us to win this game to go to 2-0, but very hollow 2-0, man. I mean, just wow. But anyway, moving on. Next up, we got the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens. This one is in Baltimore. Without hesitation, this is my lock of the week. I mean, I said everything about the Ravens that I needed to say in my Bills-Jets segment. How the Ravens blew that lead against the Ravens blew that lead against the Bills. That's not going to be the case against the Browns, all right? The Browns don't have that offense to do that, and yet somehow they did that against the Ravens last year, but this time around, no, it's not going to happen this time. The game's in Baltimore. Ravens scored 40 points in a loss. First time they've ever done that in their franchise's history. They're coming in pissed off in this game. Yeah, Baltimore's gonna... This is going to be a cakewalk. Ravens all day in this one. Next, we got the Broncos and the Colts. This one is in Indianapolis. The Broncos beat the Titans, but they didn't put them away as quickly as everyone thought they would. I mean, yeah, the defense was phenomenal for Denver once again. 6 sacks on Cam Ward, but again, like, Cam Ward was a rookie making his debut, but then again, Denver had one of the upper echelon defenses last year, if not the best defense in the league. So, yeah, it looks like Denver is not missing a beat in that department whatsoever. Offensively, I'd like to see the Broncos do a little bit more. And then going against the Indianapolis Colts, Daniel Jones, he made his Colts debut, and Indy scored on every single possession that they had in that game. So I don't know if it's because the Dolphins defense is abysmal or if Daniel Jones has found a new life in Indianapolis, because like I said last week, crazy stuff happens in week 1. And if you had Daniel Jones, you know, having the game that he had against the Dolphins on your bingo card, then I applaud you. But again, it could just be a mirage. But again, I'm just chopping it down to crazy stuff happens in week 1. And I feel like this should be a matchup that in most cases it could be 1-0 versus 0-1. Regardless, I am going to lean more towards the Broncos to win this one because Daniel Jones does not do well against stout front sevens that generate a lot of pressure, and that's what the Broncos have. So this is going to be a test for Daniel Jones. If he answers the call right here, then maybe the Colts will have something. But I am going to go with my instinct and say that the Broncos defense is the key in this one to improve to 2-0. Later slate of games, we got the Panthers and the Cardinals. This one is in Arizona as the Panthers are coming off of a 26-10 loss to the Jaguars, while the Cardinals are coming off of a win over the Saints. And kind of like the Broncos, Arizona beat the Saints, but they had trouble putting them away as well at times. But regardless, Arizona got the win, and they're 1-0 on the season. Kind of similar to last year where they got off to a nice start to the season, and they're playing a weak team right now in Carolina. Not that the Rams were a weak team last year, quite the opposite actually, but Rams, they weren't looking so hot in that game against Arizona in week 2. But You get it. Carolina is just not a good team, and they're playing a Cardinal team that is confident, and if everything can go right for Arizona, they could very well fly under the radar this year and surprise a lot of people. And I think that week 1 win is a building block. Bryce Young, still not looking good, and at this point, I have just lost all faith with Bryce Young. I think it's safe to call him a bust now. And Arizona, I think they just have enough talent to show that they can be a sleeper team this year. I'm going to go with the Cardinals to win this one over the Carolina Panthers, improve to 2-0, keep the pressure on in that tough NFC West early on in the season. So give me the Redbirds to win this one over the Panthers. Super Bowl 59 and Super Bowl 57 rematch. We got the Philadelphia Eagles going to Arrowhead to play the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Eagles, 1-0 on the season. They defeated the Dallas Cowboys on Thursday Night Football 24-20, and shit got wild literally before the first offensive snap. They lost their fullback on the opening kickoff return, and then Jalen Carter goes to Dak Prescott, of all people, hucks a loogie on him, and gets ejected from the game, and later today, he got suspended for 1 full game and got fined $57 million. Wow. Like, so much stupid with that moment alone. I honestly don't know where to start. Like, first of all, why is Jalen Hurts even in the Cowboys huddle to begin with? And number 2, like, you spat on the quarterback of all players. And not only that, but you spat on him right in front of a zebra. What did you think was going to happen? Now, I know that there's speculation that Dak may have said something or he may have done it first, but the fact of the matter is, you do that to anybody, let alone the quarterback, you're just... What do you think is going to happen, man? That may have been one of the dumbest things I have ever seen in NFL history. Regardless, Jalen Hurts, phenomenal game against Dallas Cowboys. Saquon Barkley took a little time for him to get going, but once he did, there was no stopping him. And the Eagles got it done over the Cowboys. Kansas City, they lose 27-21 to the Chargers, to the delight of just about every other fan base in the NFL. The Chiefs did not look good on Friday night against the Chargers. There were a lot of things that went wrong for them, and I said in one of my videos that I said why your team won't win the Super Bowl. I said karma would be the one for the Chiefs, where they start losing some of these close games rather than winning them. Well, the Chiefs lost a close game to the Chargers, where they missed an extra point on a touchdown and failed a 2-point conversion. Granted, Mahomes did what he could with what he had, but in the end, it was just the Chargers defense coming up big. A great game by Justin Herbert. Rashee Rice still being suspended and Xavier Worthy being injured. That is what doomed Kansas City. So, yeah, for this matchup here, I think literally all the Eagles have to do is just look at the highlights and look at the film for how they dominated Kansas City back in February. Like, the thing is, you get enough pressure on Mahomes and you really challenge him in that pocket, you're going to win, man. And that's what the Eagles were doing all game in the Super Bowl. They were making Mahomes work. They were constantly getting constant pressure on Mahomes. They shut down Kansas City's run game. They were playing man defense against their weapons. So Philly definitely does have that defense, minus Jalen Carter for this game at least, to do that to Kansas City again and then expose the weaknesses on that Chiefs defense. You know, Kansas City's run defense is spotty, and I think with Jalen and Saquon leading the pack for that game for Philadelphia. They are going to be able to exploit that once again against the Kansas City Chiefs. I just think Philly is just overall the better team here, and I got them winning this game as well over the Kansas City Chiefs here because, like I said, it's just Philly is just more well-equipped for this game, and I think they know more about Kansas City at this point than Kansas City even knows themselves at this point, because the Chiefs, they really don't know if they're just bored or if they're perhaps not as a dominant dynasty than they think they are. And I think if there's any team that can answer that question, it's Philly, because they've beaten Kansas City in a Super Bowl, and they've even outplayed Kansas City in a Super Bowl despite losing it. So yeah, to me, I think Philadelphia is just the clear-cut better team. I'm going to take the Eagles to do it again over the Kansas City Chiefs here. Then we got Sunday Night Football. Check your local listings as we got the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Minnesota Vikings. This one is down in Minneapolis, or up in Minneapolis, I should say. But yeah, you get it. Falcons and the Vikings. This one is in Minnesota. So, Atlanta, they are 0-1 to start off the season, but they hung in there really well with the the Bucs despite losing. Atlanta's offense showed that they really have that potential to be a top 5 offense in the league. And I think it's just a matter of time before their defense steps up to par and they're able to, give the offense some more breathing room here. But yeah, I mean, Atlanta, they have, Atlanta, they have a lot of potential to be a pretty solid team. Minnesota, they beat the Chicago Bears on Monday night, but I wasn't really convinced that the Vikings pulled it off because they're a good team. I mean, credit to J.J. McCarthy. He started off really slow, but he really got it together and ended up having a pretty good game for his debut, if you want to call it that. But then again, he also threw a pick 6, and I don't know if the slow start, if he can afford to have a slow start against a team like Atlanta, because unlike the Bears, if you give Atlanta chances, they are going to make you pay for it. And, with this Falcons team having a more defined offense than Chicago does, you can't give the Falcons more chances like you did to the Bears, Kyle Pitts, really nice game. And then you got Drake London being questionable for this game as well. So, yeah, I mean, Minnesota, I think their defense is going to keep them in this game, but they allowed 24 points against the Chicago Bears, and the Vikings had to rally in that game as well. So, there are a lot of factors that add up to this being a really good game on Sunday Night Football. And as much as I wanted to pick the Vikings to go to 2-0, I'm actually going to make this my upset of the week. Minnesota is favored in this game, and I think Atlanta comes away and they upset the Vikings here. I like Atlanta's offense in this game. I think Minnesota may have a little bit more of a head scratcher and a little bit more of a handful to deal with the Falcons in this game more than they did with the Bears, because I don't think Atlanta is going to make as many mistakes as Chicago did. They run the ball here and they have just a balanced offensive attack. They can come away with this win, and Atlanta does have that capability. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Falcons for the upset here over the Vikings to get their first win of the season. Then we got 2 Monday night games. First at bat, we got the Tampa Bay Bucs and the Houston Texans. This one is down in Houston. This one was another tricky one for me to pick because you do have a case for both teams here. The Bucs got it done over the Falcons, but they struggled against them at times. You could chop that down to being, well, it's a divisional game, and you know, division opponents know each other. But I don't know. I mean, sure, you do what you need to do to win, but like, I'm a little concerned if I'm a Bucs fan. Well, I am a Bucs fan in baseball, but I'm talking about the football team here. But that rookie for Tampa, Igbuka, he stepped up really well. So yeah, I mean, Tampa, it looks like they really have not missed a beat on offense at all. So there you go with Tampa right there. As for the Houston Texans, Houston, their O-line is absolutely abysmal. CJ Stroud just got absolutely tortured by the Rams defense all day Sunday. And that's not a good look for the people that say that CJ Stroud's 2023 season was a fluke. But we'll see how this is. It doesn't help either because Tampa does have a prolific front that can really make you work as well. So I think I am going to go ahead and take the Bucs to go to 2-0 here. Because, like I said, Houston, if they can't do anything with their O-line right here, I don't know how they're going to come away and win this game. Whereas Tampa, yes, I'm a little concerned about them, but I think they have more of an identity than Houston does. So I'm going to take the Bucs to win this one. And then concluding week 2, we got the Chargers and the Raiders. This one is out in Vegas as a couple of 1-0 teams here. The Chargers got it done over the Chiefs on Friday night, and they are 1-0. Justin Herbert had a phenomenal game against Kansas City, both through the air and on the ground. As I think Justin Herbert is just really looking to, like, etch his name, like, in the top 4 of quarterbacks, Lamar, Burrow, Jackson, Hurts. And Herbert wants to be right there, at least in the top 5. And I think that's a game that we can point to with Justin Herbert right there. But, yeah, the Chargers, they had a great game against Kansas City. They're looking to ride that momentum to go to 2-0 once again. Defense did well, but the run game, not really a factor. But I feel like if they can get Najee Harris involved in this game, then they can really be a threat on both ends of the ball. Then you got the Raiders. They got it done over the Patriots in Foxborough in Pete Carroll's head coaching debut and Geno Smith's debut at quarterback for the Raiders. So, yeah, there's a lot to look forward to in this game right here. So, for this game, I really don't think it's going to be as clear-cut as people say. Because Pete Carroll, like I said, really good motivator, really good prep guy, and he really had that Raiders team ready. But now he has a tougher task ahead of him, facing a Charger team that's physical and limiting up front on defense, and they can run the ball effectively as well. I don't know just how ready defensively the Raiders are, because sure, they got it done over the Patriots, but they did have hiccups here and there against them with second-year quarterback in Drake May, and now they're going up against Justin Herbert, who's in his 6th season. So, not as clear-cut as you think, but I will go ahead and take the Chargers to win this one regardless, just because I'm a little more convinced of them than I am with the Raiders. So, I'm going to go ahead and take LA to win it over the Raiders. There you have it. Those are my Week 2 picks, and I will most likely see you in Week 4. I'll probably community post my Week 3 picks, but that'll do it for my Week 2 picks, and I will see you, everybody, in a couple weeks. Have a good one, everybody.